We have already created this new knowledge base inside of the Q&A Maker portal. And we already have some information about how we might start to get responses from this Q&A service. However, what we do want to make in here is a bot. And so what I will do is navigate back to Azure and create yet another resource. So I'm going to search for bot, and the one that we need to select is the web app bot. So let's go ahead and create one of these new services. We're going to see a summary about what this is going to do. So it will allow us to deploy an Azure bot service to build, connect, deploy, and manage bots to interact with our users wherever they are, which includes Cortana, Skype, Messenger, many more services that we're not going to be using. We are going to be creating our own bot in our own application. So let's go ahead and hit on creating here and fill out the names. This is going to be the LPA bots. You know how it goes. So select the research group, select the subscription, the location. In the pricing tier, we're going to find a free one and a standard one as well. The free one is going to be more than enough. The template is important. By default, you have a basic bot selected, but we will have to go ahead and change this because we're going to be using a Q&A service. So let me go ahead and select bot template. And here it is important that you change to version 3 of the SDK. You could still use SDK version 4, but it will be a little bit harder to set up the Q&A bot. You can always do it. Here would be the instructions. But if you go ahead and select version 3, notice that immediately you're going to see one template for questions and answers with C#. So let's go ahead and select this one and just finish up the setup. We will have to make sure that the app service that we select is, well, it's not necessary, but I do recommend that you select the one that you created earlier. You have to make sure that the Azure storage name is available. You do not need the application insights. I will turn this off and I will simply go ahead and create. As always, as soon as the resource is ready, we can navigate over to the resource, and now we will be able to start building the project. But since this is actually a Q&A template, we really don't need to do much. What you will have to do is navigate over to application settings, and to the bottom, because this is a Q&A service template, you're going to find 3 Q&A settings that you have to change. The Q&A auth key, the Q&A endpoint hostname, and the Q&A knowledge base ID. These are actually inside of these sample HTTP requests that we saw when we created the Q&A service. After the post knowledge bases, there is this ID. This one is the ID for a knowledge base. So all we have to do is copy this and paste it over here in the knowledge base ID. So go ahead and paste it right there. Then we also have the endpoint key. So I just have to copy it and paste it over here in the Q&A auth key. And finally, the endpoint hostname, well, it's right here in host. So all we have to do is copy this and paste it over here in the Q&A endpoint hostname. Let's go ahead and save this, and now we are ready to test this out in a web chat. And a chat is going to be loaded right here inside Azure. And let's make a test question similar to one we made before. Let's do 32-bit versus 64-bit Windows version. Let me correct this to 64. And let's just send this over. And this is now going to be sent through the bots. And you can see how we receive the exact same result. So this is how we create a bot. It's quite straightforward thanks to that Q&A template that we used. All we have to do is go ahead and copy some values over from the Q&A maker, paste them, and now it's ready. And because this is a bot, we certainly have a ton of channels where we could distribute this. As you can see, web chat is up and running, but you could also add Cortana, your own direct line channel, Teams, Skype, Slack, Twilio, Telegram. Really, the possibilities are a lot. However, we do have our own application, so in the next lecture, we're going to take a look at how we can easily connect this web app bot to our application. So we're going to, once we have all of these Azure services ready, get back to Xamarin Forms to complete this project.